Greetings Petrolheads, my name is Tom, you're on my gaming channel, and today I'm playing another episode of Automation the Car Company Tycoon game. But before we get into this episode, I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about how things are going in the previous, how things have been going in the previous time, in the last couple of weeks and so. It's been going pretty well until pretty much July 25th or so. From which point onwards the subscriber count at my channel pretty much stagnated, which is not a bad thing or anything like that. But at the same time, my email inbox was full with notifications of people subscribing to my channel, but the sub counter didn't really go up all that much, so I must have had also a bunch of unsubs, which is always sad for me. But honestly, since I'm not really losing many subs over time, it could be worse. But we still have a goal, don't forget. The goal is still 1,000 subs until 1st of October, which is my birthday. The goal I've set in, I set this goal in late March, early April maybe. Shortly after the Skyline R34 video got shared by Car Throttle, I was like, hey, we can do this. And since then I've been doing more and more videos and gotten lots of positive feedback, so I hope we can actually make this work. So let's get into this episode, and we're gonna do so by reviewing the Caseworks Morgan S460 is what this one's called. It is a luxury saloon, and let's get right into this thing. It's, well, a saloon, as we can see. It is made from aluminium for both the chassis and the panels. Engine is a longitudinally mounted V8, as we can see, and it is naturally aspirated. We can see that as well, but we're gonna obviously take a closer look at it later. Double wishbone front suspension, multi-link rear suspension is pretty much the standard for today's luxury cars, and this is a weird bug that I oftentimes encounter, that the rims are just offset far too much if you click some specific things in this tab, but obviously we're gonna fix that later. As far as looks go, I think it looks very classy, very elegant. It's even got a little bit of a happy face on front, so it looks inviting. It doesn't look overly aggressive or anything like that. Whereas the rear end, I think, does look a little bit aggressive with these taillights leading into this chrome bar, kind of separating this top part from the bottom part. And the bottom part is rather simplistic, with a simple grille here, only 2 exhausts, and they are pretty small for a car of this size, but I'm not gonna complain. And there's the number plate holder, and there's the one for the front end. So overall, pretty decent looking car. Also this graphite gray anthracite, I don't know what the exact name for this color is, but I like that color. I like it. And it looks like we got a little bit of a lip up here as well, and a lip obviously up front. It is, as far as the drivetrain goes, all-wheel drive, and this bug fixed itself, so now we can take a better look at this rear end. Yeah, everything looks in place, but the exhausts are maybe a little bit small. Could be worse though. So let's get right into the engine tab here. It's a V8 made from aluminium, just like the chassis and panels. It's got a very high stroke compared to its bore. It's got 5 valves per cylinder. But the advantage of having higher stroke is that it keeps the engine relatively small and compact while also, you know, adding displacement. Whereas the bore, like a high bore and low stroke will make the engine pretty big, like very wide, and take up a lot of space under the bonnet. So we got forged steel crank with I-beam titanium conrods and lightweight forged pistons. We need those pistons probably, you know, to rev up to this engine's red line. Yeah. Regular forged pistons would cause a little bit of trouble when it comes to the reliability. We do have +3 quality in here. And then here we got a moderately low cam profile of 40. 11.4 compression ratio is not even as high as it sounds in this day and age. +5 quality on the head as well, to avoid any sort of valve float. It is naturally aspirated, we saw that. Direct injection with throttle per cylinder configuration and a standard intake. Now, throttle per cylinder configuration makes it so this engine is going to be very responsive, and that makes it feel more sporty, and it gives you that feeling that not only is the low-end torque there, but also it's instantly there when you put your foot down. Like, not like in the old muscle cars from the 60s and so on. Of course they had low-end torque, there's no question, but you didn't get the immediate surge of torque when you were cruising in those engines, because they were not as responsive, because they had carburetors and all that. So this one, as soon as you put your foot down, you'll notice that it actually goes. How fast? We're gonna see on the test track. And for now, let's just discuss the rest of this engine part here. Fuel mixture is 14.1 to 1, is relatively lean, therefore. Ignition timing 99, like pretty much as high as it gets. 7100 RPM limit is interesting for a car with this much stroke. We saw that it would cause reliability issues if we didn't have the lightweight forged pistons. Oh, what about the exhaust? We forgot about the exhaust. Long tubular headers, dual exhausts, plenty of pipe, 2 reverse flow mufflers to make the engine quiet, and +5 quality. So now this is indeed a very quiet engine. 27.0 loudness is very quiet indeed. Also, the economy is pretty good with 31%. Reliability also stands out, but that's probably mostly due to the fact that he also used some quality sliders, which is totally acceptable in a you know, not very cheap luxury car. Let's fix this little thing right here. As far as gearbox goes, we have a 7-speed double clutch gearbox, which is totally fine. We got a little bit of overrun here. 35 to 65 weight distribution. Very big rims, actually, 19-inch rims. They don't seem that big on this car though, because we also have 720mm wheel diameter, so that is not a problem for the tire profile. Let's see how much profile do we got. So it's 245/50 R19 front and 265/45 R19 rear. There's still plenty of profile left here, so The ride would probably be pretty smooth, despite the 19-inch rims. Let's see, what about the brakes? 4 piston vented discs up front and 2 piston vented discs on the rear. No brake fade, as I expected. Yeah, a little bit of quality in here as well. On the gearbox too, yeah. Then a little bit on the tires as well. I don't know why he didn't go for the sports tires. It would actually add drivability. We would lose 0.5 comfort, but we would gain 1.1 drivability and 1.2 sportiness. But still, on the medium compound road tires, it's still pretty good. So let's look at the aero plus free quality. We see that we got a fully clad under tray, more front than rear downforce, and more than enough cooling airflow. You could even reduce this a little bit further to give you a little bit more top speed, but you know, how much would it add? 4 kilometers an hour, which is, you know, not the most meaningful difference you can think of. So 4 seats only, luxury interior, premium infotainment, all driver assist except for launch control, because this is not a super saloon. It is a relatively quick saloon, but not a super saloon like a BMW M5 or an Audi RS6. We got active comfort suspension, active comfort springs, excuse me. You would expect that, I think, in a car like this, or you would at least expect air suspension. Semi-active dampers and passive sway bars is totally fine. Looks like we have a relatively comfortable setup here with a little bit lower ride height, plus free quality in the suspension, and that gives us a very high drivability, 66.7. Sportiness is still nothing to sneeze at, 39.3. Comfort is high, as you would expect here, 64.2. Prestige is really good as well, 45.7, and safety. Well, what do we have? Oh, advanced safety, yeah. Advanced safety and a 2-ton car make for a very high safety rating indeed. And yet, this will do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.9 seconds, which is very nice indeed. And a quarter mile will take 13.08 seconds, which is pretty much on par with a Mercedes A45 AMG, which takes 13.1. So, you know, I don't actually know how that would work in practice though. Like, this car takes longer from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour than the A45 AMG. Plus, it's less powerful and heavier. I don't know what's wrong with the A45. It's got very weird gearing, I know that much. But still, this car, I would probably compare it to a, you know, BMW 5, actually more like a 6 Series or even 7 Series than an Audi A6, Mercedes, maybe not S-Class, but E-Class for sure. Well, it's gonna be BMW 5 Series then, 5 or 6 Series anyway. And I think it would do relatively well. The economy of 21.5 mpg is obviously not fantastic, but it's to be expected with a 4.6 liter V8. It's not too bad though. Could be worse. Could be much worse. So overall, the total cost is 26,376. That would make it about 80,000, somewhere between $80,000 and $90,000 MSRP. And for that kind of money, you get well, I think it's actually very well priced. Pretty much on par with the competitors from Germany. It doesn't really have any American competitors, to be fair. Yeah, so overall I like this car. It's well made, it's well tuned, and I would recommend checking it out if you want an everyday luxury saloon car. You cannot like, you can drive it every day and it would not be too thirsty. 21.5 mpg is solid. It's, I mean, obviously it's not gonna be as economical as your, you know, 1.6 liter hatchback cars, but then again, it goes from 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds, which is very respectable indeed. So yeah, good build. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button, helps out a great deal. Subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.